Hello and welcome back to another Board Crazy review. My name is D. I am joined by my partners in crime.
I'm Graham.
And as legend tells it, I am Sprinkles.
No, you're not Sprinkles.
I'm Will.
Yeah, you are Will.
But I may have let it drop that Sprinkles happens to be one of my many alter egos.
Yep. This is our review for Legendary Forest, as you could probably tell from the title of the video. And before we get started with our thoughts on the game, we're going to run my introduction from our gameplay video, just so everyone has a basic idea of how the game works if they haven't seen that yet. There will be a time listed that you can skip to if you so wish, but here that goes. Legendary Forest is a game for 2 to 5 players, designed by Toshiki Sato and published by Iello. It is a tile placement game where each player gets an identical set of tiles, but uses them in their own way in order to construct a cohesive and beautiful world. To set up, each player takes one identical set of 25 tiles. Each set is numbered 1 through 25. Then each player will take their number 1 tile and place it face up in the center of their play area. One player is chosen to be the architect, and they shuffle up all their tiles face down, then remove 5 of them from the game, and create a stack from what's remaining. To play the game, the architect flips over the top tile from their stack and announces the number to the other players. Then all players will add that number to their world. Tiles must be placed adjacent to a previously placed tile, and all edges must be of matching colors. If a player is unable to place a tile in their world, they must discard it. Each colored section on a tile, excluding grass, contains a half rune, and when paired with another tile of a matching color, creates a full rune. Each of these areas of matching colors is called a zone. A closed zone is comprised strictly of full runes, while an open zone will have at least one half rune. Another important aspect of the game is the trees. At the start of the game, there are 2 trees per player in each of the 3 colors. When the architect calls out a tile whose number is against a light background, each player may then add a tree to their planet. The player with the construction token may add a tree first, then the other players may follow in clockwise order. A tree must be added to a zone, either open or closed, of its matching color. Once this is done, the construction token passes to the next player in clockwise order. Once the architect has called their final tile and everyone has added it to their planet, the game is over and the scores are calculated. Players will earn points for each zone they have that contains at least 1 tree. A closed zone will earn the player points equal to the number of runes within it times 2. An open zone, meanwhile, will earn its players points just equal to the number of full runes within it. Any zones that do not contain any trees do not score any points at all. And the player who has scored the most points has, of course, won the game. Now let's get started. All right, so now that everyone is generally in agreement on how this game works, let's talk about it. Let's give our thoughts. Legendary Forest, tile placement game. I think it's fair to say, without question, this is maybe not the most original game we've ever played.
That's probably
reasonable. This reminds me of a few games in different ways.
I think it has elements of like Carcassonne and
probably
Karuba and like games like that. And
definitely Carcassonne. It reminds me of a lot because you have like the tile placement and the patterns having to match, and like it reminds me of Lotus a little bit.
Yeah, Lotus
to sort of like assemble, not only the flower thing, but you have to like assemble the colors in order to complete.
It's fair to say that it's derivative.
A little bit. That being said, I also think it's just good enough on its own, I think, to still be worthwhile.
Absolutely.
I would play this over some of those other games. So, okay. I think the main, I don't know if we could call it a concern, maybe the main thought I think one will typically have when they like read the rules and start playing is that, what if everyone just makes the exact same pattern?
That's the first thought that comes to mind.
Because there's literally nothing in here to prevent that from happening or to discourage it. Like, it literally could happen if someone were intentionally doing so.
You could intentionally do it if you want, I guess.
Unintentionally be difficult, but
unintentional, unless you guys kind of set up like your own, like a folder system,
screens or something,
something like there to block it off, which would actually kind of be interesting.
Mm-hmm. But that being said, I even though that seems like a concern, it's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing where even though everyone's tiles are identical and they're always playing the same tiles at the same time, like that sort of uniformity almost counterintuitively produces a sort of increases like how much individuality matters in this game, because people are going to be using the same pieces to make their own designs, basically, and based on their own logic. You yourself have, I think, a lot more say in like winning or losing in this game based on just your
Everyone has the same parameters, everything, and so at the end of the game, when you look at everybody's boards, it's really interesting to see the different paths people could have taken.
Yeah.
And it shows you how many different combinations and
permutations.
And
I wonder if you played this game enough with the same people, if you want to actually like start to learn something about how they approach like strategies by if they have like typical like ways of doing things.
Well, I think that what you guys were talking about, how everything is the same for everyone. It's a completely equal playing field. That affected me mentally in a way where, like, when you win a game like this, where everyone's playing on, it makes you feel, I don't know if it makes you feel smarter than you are, but it makes you feel good. It's a good sensation, and I think people who play this game and who have a level of success are going to feel that same way.
But what's interesting, though, the luck factor is still very much there, and our game actually showed it very well, how even though we're all on exactly even playing fields, based on how you built your little, whatever you want to call it, grid system, however you decide to build it, the luck actually ends up having quite an effect. Well, I think there was, just based on the last tile that came up in our game, it was something like a 12-point swing between...
Huge.
You might have won the game.
I probably would have won if I had if a certain other tile had come up instead of...
And I would have probably I would have been down 12 or 14 more points.
That's another like I would say major thing about the game. It might seem minor at first, but the first player sort of removing 5 of their own tiles. I could see how someone might think that like, what's the point? Or even like, or even like why it seems annoying. But definitely, it introduces luck, but it's like a press your luck sort of situation where you can get towards the bottom. You can see exactly which tiles are left that could be coming up, and you can sort of plan around that.
Yeah.
But you don't know exactly which ones are going to be used. So it came back to bite me. Like I pressed my luck pretty hard, and it didn't pay off in the end. But
the game wouldn't be very interesting if you had 100% of the information there.
Yeah.
It would be almost a pointless game.
Then you would strategize based on what tiles.
Exactly. I don't think it would necessarily be. It wouldn't be like unplayable like that. I think actually you could literally play it like that, but it would be. I definitely think it would be a lot more stale.
It would kill replayability.
A lot more staid.
It would be. I think I personally am trying to. It would be. Because then you would know what's coming up. You would know, like, this is going to come up eventually, so I can...
You would know what was coming up. You may not know exactly what order.
It would take that press the luck out of it. It would
absolutely would.
Because with the luck factor thing, I agree that there is a luck factor in this game, but it feels to me like less severe or less annoying because you're building your board.
I would say it's barely luck.
Really?
I mean, it's luck.
It's just the luck of the draw, but
again, you're creating it yourself, so you can limit it as much as you want.
I think it's very interesting that D and I are sort of leaning towards there's luck involved, but it's not that big, and then you see it more as like it's a bit more prevalent. Because I was going to mention something, and I wonder if this plays into that, is that I noticed in the gameplay, D had no choice, but he couldn't look ahead to see what tiles are because he was the architect. And then I chose not to look ahead because I didn't necessarily, want to I didn't want to see what I had left to try to fit it all in. But then I noticed you spread your tiles out so you could see them all. And I wonder if that maybe...
Is there a rule in that, how you spread and look at your tiles?
It recommends having them face up in, some sort of order. The other players arrange their 24 tiles face up next to them in whatever order they wish. It doesn't say should at all. So.
Well, I had one stack face up, one stack face down, but I wasn't looking through them.
At least Graham was following the rules. All right, we'll lose.
I'll take that victory.
My point is that I don't even think you were consciously trying to strategize around what you had left, but I think it might have in the end sort of maybe like affected how you viewed the luck factor in the game.
I mean, I did strategize around what I had left. I realized, okay, I don't have any of these pieces left, so like I need this piece to come up. It's my only piece that fits there. And then also I was avoiding putting certain tiles in certain places to, increase my chances of being able to finish
runes.
Yeah, being able to complete runes and stuff like that. So I did use it to strategize, definitely, but I mean, I still felt like there was a significant luck factor there.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we talked about luck.
Yeah.
Your mileage may vary. How about the scoring system itself? What do you guys think of the way it works? It's fairly strict, I guess you could say. Like, you don't score much. I like it, though. Mm-hmm. I think it keeps things very manageable, while also making some sense. You know, you really have to focus on certain areas. You can't just kind of like start making tons of tiny little zones everywhere all over your map.
I think they found a good way to, once again, have to make, important decisions. Okay, do I want to really, you can take a risk and try to build a huge area with the chance of maybe being able to close it off and score big. But at the same time, they still allow you another direction to not by being able to score runes that are just connected with each other, without having to close it. If you had to close those
that would be too much.
That would feel very strict. I thought they were kind of strict in that sense that you said, but
I just appreciate the additional strategy that the trees added to the game. Okay, you're building your zones. You have to put a tree in there in order to score it in general. But I also and we didn't really do this, but it occurred to me before and after we played that it's really cool that you could potentially take a tree that you don't even need and double up in a zone just to take that tree away from your opponent.
It's true.
You could look at what they're building and be like, oh, they really need a yellow. There's one yellow left. I'm first to choose a tree. I don't need a yellow, but I could take a yellow and just put it in one of my yellow zones. And deny them the scoring that they need.
Yeah, that's definitely something that can come up. I actually felt like personally the strategy regarding the trees was one of the weaker parts of the game. I feel like it's not even a strategy at most parts. I think because everyone is getting the same tiles, they will probably have the same color. They will have the same colors and probably similar looking zones in some shape or form. So most times around, it's going to just see the same people drawing just all the same color.
Same trees.
And it seems like it's just mechanical. It's almost like.
I feel similar to how you do with the trees. They felt like definitely a secondary strategy. Was not worried about them for the most part.
Yeah.
Because you can also kind of make it work regardless, unless you have a huge zone that you're trying to fill with a tree. But you usually fill those pretty quickly. If
exactly.
You're going to take.
You're not going to start like your major zone at the end of the game.
Yeah, I almost thought it'd be interesting to see if it wasn't so. Maybe if the trees were a little bit more randomized in the beginning, maybe so they're not all either however many that show up in our game. What is it?
Three of each.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see.
No,
6 of each.
Two for each player, so 6 in a 3-player game.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if it wasn't completely equal there. It would be weird.
I get what he's saying. It would mix it up.
Yeah, it would make certain colors more valuable than others. And
it's definitely a house rule that you could do. But then again, I think the reason they didn't do that is they wouldn't want to influence people to focus on one color because there's more of those trees out there. Yep. But I get what you're saying. That could break up some of the, I guess you could say the samey, monotonous nature of the trees.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, is there anything else you guys want to talk about as far as the gameplay itself? Wasn't
there's not too much to it.
It's an extremely simple game. Okay, let's talk about just the product itself then, briefly. Attractive. For sure.
I love the box art.
The box art is really good. That's all. I mean, I like the tiles. They're all, they're bright and colorful. I like the little forest spirit things on the back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not there's not a lot going on, but it's a nice enough game to look at.
I don't necessarily associate forest and flowers in the sense that
Well, there might be trees. They are trees. They're not really.
I guess they're trees, but they look like flower petals.
Yeah, they do.
So it's because the idea of the game is that you're world building. You're building a new
the
planet.
theme is basically non-existent,
and
but it's fine. The game is so easy to learn, but the rule book is still it covers everything you'd want it to. It's a solid rule book. Everything. And I don't know. Price was.
This game generally runs for around $15.
That's a good price for this game.
Yeah.
So I guess we can wrap it up then if you guys want to. We got anything else to say?
Yep, I have. Nope, that's.
I like this one. It's super quick, super easy to learn. And once you've learned it, it's it's an easy one to remember too, which I think is a big thing with board games that people don't realize. You play a lot of them, going back can be hard sometimes. This one I don't really see having a problem in that respect. And it's not. it's fun. It's not too light, I don't think. You know, you do enough thinking for it to be satisfying 15 to 20 minutes of gameplay. I will give it, but it is still, it's not like a game that's going to maybe wow you like the others would. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars out of 5.
Yeah, you pretty much summed it up pretty well there. It's not, it doesn't stand out too much as a incredibly unique game, but there's a good foundation there, and it does. Yeah,
they used a lot of good ideas from other games.
And there's, it's not like you're not strategizing and thinking and decision making throughout the game. You're doing all that stuff. It's keeping you entertained. So I'm gonna give it 1 thumb up.
1 out of possible 2 thumbs up.
It moves really quick. It's not one of those games that lies to you about its playtime.
No,
I always appreciate that. And these kind of games are my jam because I don't always want to play like the heavy strategy. Yeah, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It is a little derivative. It's a little derivative. And for that reason, I think I'm just going to give it a B because it's like a solid. It's like just there's not much to say negative about it, but also not much to give it like extreme praise.
Yeah,
it's just solid as hell.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was our review for Legendary Force. We hope you found it informative and entertaining. If you did, you can like, comment, subscribe, and share.
We didn't really do much with these in this video because it's a review, but I do want to mention them. We'll probably use them only a handful of times more, but these are the Outburst game tables. They're these little novelty tables designed to sort of be abused and flip when you're angry during a game. You can use them as a first-player token or a coaster. Or
the board game equivalent of a stress ball.
Exactly. They're coming to Kickstarter. The planned Kickstarter date is June 27th. And if I'm doing my math right, that's today.
No, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
Keep an eye out for them if this looks like something you might be interested in.
Thank you for watching this video, everybody. We're going to come back this coming Friday. We 3 will be on a train in Europe, and we're going to be solving a mystery, it sounds like. So that should be some fun times. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Soyo.